Hey everybody, Rich from Elk Endeavors here. Hey, today I wanted to talk about guilt and the feeling that you get when you were a workaholic, like I was talking about yesterday, and when you're in affiliate marketing. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm really excited because it's the second sort of installment that I'm doing in this. I guess maybe what might turn into a series about being a workaholic. But I wanted to first ask you if you like what I'm doing and you're interested in what I have to say, please subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you have any comments. Please let me know, and we'll get started. So this morning or Friday night, I started this thing a few months ago where I was gonna start drawing and sketching, and it was just sort of inspired by a friend of mine. And I'm not at all fast enough to be sketching things out to do illustrations, so I stopped. And I just didn't have the desire to learn that skill, in order to succeed. And so that was an illustration of me trying to, pare down on and focus on what I knew I needed to be focused on, rather than trying to, build a whole new skill to focus on. But at any rate, I have leftover paper and markers. So what I did is, and I have this sort of vision of how I want my office to be, with whiteboards, and a table and all these things that I see in videos that of people that have had success, and that I'm following toward their success. But I haven't gotten there yet, right? So I'm using this paper, and Friday night I put a list of the things that I wanted to do, and I have a how can I afford statement, because I don't I've really gotten away from I can't afford that. I never say that ever unless I'm giving an example. I always say, how can I afford that? If I really want something, how can I afford that? And if I don't want it, then it's not that I can't afford it, it's just that I don't want it. If I want it, I just say, how can I afford it? And then I have like a sort of a to-do list that I wanted to get done for the weekend. And then I forget what the other, there's something else on the right, but I did that just to make it look nicer, because I wanted it centered. And that's probably why I can't remember what exactly is on there. At any rate, my office is in the basement, and when my computer broke, I was working mostly upstairs in the light, and with my kids around, and or at least in the kitchen where they were, and where it was light and more airy and things like that. And now I'm down in the basement. Because my laptop broke. I can still use it, but I have to hook it up to the large screen TV. So I'm staring at this enormous monitor. It's all pixelated, but it's just this is what it has to be right now, because I haven't got my new computer yet. But there's a guilt feeling that I associate with being down in the basement working, because that's where I did my doctorate, and I just really had to hole up and hide down there. And that was one of the things that, thinking about the amount of work that I do, and replacing and all the things that I talked about the other day, the guilt feeling that I have when I'm working is really a struggle, because not only am I, realizing that I'm working too much, but I'm also starting to feel guilty about it. And being downstairs in the basement makes me feel even more guilty because because I'm not with my kids. Like today, I was trying to get some stuff done. I know it's the weekend. I know I've been saying that I spend the weekends with my kids, and usually I do. But this weekend, I'm really trying to get some a couple things I just absolutely just have to get off my plate, because otherwise I'll just keep thinking about them and not get them done. And they just need to get done. So I was down in the basement, and I have this list, and it's it's staring me in the face, and I'm working on it, and I got halfway done yesterday. I did really well, and yesterday was my anniversary, so I got halfway done yesterday, and then today I just sort of I couldn't bring myself to do it. I've just been finding excuse after excuse after excuse to not get the things. It's not that I'm not to not get the things done, but to not be down there. And really, it's not they're not bad excuses, because my excuses are wanting to be with my kids. But there is that sense of oh gosh, I need that, and I think that's part of the problem that I'm having, is that I feel like I have this pressure to do something and get something done that I've put on myself because of this replacement. So I think just to be clear, yesterday I talked about how I became an affiliate marketer, an affiliate entrepreneur, and it was a replacement work. It's replacement work from when I finished my doctorate. And that, that the work that I did for my doctorate was enormous. I wrote a book, that like very few people will ever read, because that's what research is all about. But I put it all together. I'm an expert in my field, in that particular zone of my field. And that's, what's going to be, it's going to be my focus for the rest of my life, or a focus for the rest of my career. But that was a tremendous amount of work. And like I said yesterday, my wife and I decided that I was not going to replace that work with other work, because that has become my habit. I'm 46 years old. There's no denying that, that I do this, because it's been, I even just like my wife, before I started paying attention to it, I've been with my wife for 12, 13, 14 years now in total. And she's seen it, like from the beginning. I used to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to grade papers, so I could get those done, and back to my students, rather than sleeping in. I would actually get up on like a Saturday morning and at like 3 o'clock and do my, get my work done, so that I could actually enjoy my weekend, without having to worry about it. And now I don't really, like, I'm done getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm just done. And so the guilt comes when I start trying to do those things. I start trying to get them done. And I feel guilty for not doing them, and I feel guilty for doing them. So it's really, it's a tough spot. It really is a tough spot to be in. And it's something that, I believe in. Fortunately, like, I believe in what I'm doing. But, and if I didn't believe in what I was doing, I would have quit. But like, because I believe in what I'm doing it on a daily basis, and I'm doing it, because it means a lot to me, and because it means a lot to the future of my family. And that's another thing, is that, like, there's this pressure of being the provider, and being the person that, like, puts food on the table. And if I don't do that, and if I don't do it in the way that I want to do it now, and the way that I know that I can do it now, after having gone through the 4% Success Challenge, I'm doing myself a disservice and my family a disservice. So those are the things that I'm struggling with, and guilt, I think, is a huge part of it. And I think as entrepreneurs, as providers, there's a guilt feeling, because you always hear the stories of, like, the kids that just say, well, I just wanted you home. I just wanted to, be with you. And it's like, yeah, I get that. But, like, if I'm not doing what I'm doing right now, then, like, I'm unable to be, like, I'm either unable to be with you and be completely present, or I will be, at a point in the very near future. And so that's the struggle. And I just want to, kind of point that out there, put that out there, and point that out, because I think it's an important thing to talk about. Because I think it goes unnoticed, and I think it goes untalked about. And if we don't parse it out and think through it and like tease it apart, then we won't be able to put it back together again in a better plan. So that's kind of what I'm busily doing. You can see there's someone behind me unpacking their groceries. I'm in the grocery store. But that was like an excuse for me to get out of the house and not do the work that I'm supposed to be doing. But I'm getting this taken care of. And I think, like I said, I think I'm sort of parsing this out and teasing it apart, so that I can put it back together into a more organized plan where I can be successful more quickly. And that's the big goal, is to be as successful as possible, as quickly as possible, and move along and get this thing done, and get this thing. It's just off the ground. It's just taking off. It's like a giant plane that's just about 500 feet in the air, and it's a beautiful thing seeing that plane in the air and not on the runway anymore. But once it gets going, and once it gets that momentum under it, it's going to be awesome. So I'm really excited to be doing it. I'm just trying to do it more efficiently and do it without the guilt. And we'll all be good. So thanks very much for listening and watching. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. And might be more about workaholic stuff and guilt, or it might be I might move on to another subject. So drop me a line and let me know if you want me to do some more information on being a workaholic and working too hard, and if you don't, then I might move on to another situation, unless there's something else that comes to mind. So thank you very much, and we'll talk to you later.